Hey guys, Rob Hoke here, Bass Talk Fishing. Today we're going to do a video on football head jigs. It's getting to be that time again. This bait really works for me in two different temperature ranges. Once the water hits about 40 degrees when the ice melts, and that's going to happen hopefully soon, please. But once the ice melts and that water gets up into the 40s, probably from 40 to 51 to 52 degrees is when I'm going to be throwing this bait. They're really good baits. I love throwing them. I haven't really had a lot of opportunities to throw them because I was kind of stuck fishing these smaller lakes, and a lot of the lakes around me didn't have that hard bottom, which is required for the football head jig. Bottom composition, for me to throw this bait, I want hard bottom, chunk rock, bedrock, all the way up to about like a sandy bottom. That's pretty much the only places I'm going to be throwing this style of bait. It doesn't work well for muck bottom areas or anything like that, but hard bottom is key. We'll get into the rod right away. So I like to rig this bait up, as you can guess, Abu Garcia Veritas 2.0. Lengthwise, anything from a 7 to a 7.5 foot medium heavy fast action rod is going to be good for you. I started fishing with a 7 foot and I didn't really like it that much, so I found this 7.3 medium heavy from Abu Garcia, and I absolutely love it. I also use it for throwing my big, like 10.5-inch rubber worms. So really good bait, or really good rod for that bait. Reel doesn't really matter. 6.4 to 1, 6.3 to 1, 7.1 to 1. I elect to have a 7.1 to 1, and you'll see later when we talk about how to fish this bait why I use a 7.1 to 1. I'm not moving this bait really ever with my reel unless I'm reeling it back to the boat. You're moving this bait with your rod, so all I'm doing with the reel is picking up slack. So I elect the 7.1 to 1. It allows me to pick up slack quicker and get the bait back to the boat when I'm kind of out of the zone where I want to fish that bait. It allows me to get the bait back to the boat quicker and get another cast out. Now line, 14 to 17 pound fluorocarbon is where you want to live with this bait. I elect to throw 15 pound test P line, 100% fluorocarbon. That just works best for me. That's what feels right to me. Anything bigger, you're going to be slowing down the rate of fall, and you're kind of going to be fighting the bait, keeping it on the bottom. And really that's the key to this bait, is keeping bottom contact. You don't want to throw mono, you don't want to throw braid, for the simple fact that you're fishing this bait around that rock, around that bedrock, that chunk rock, and this line, the fluorocarbon line, has the best nick resistance out of all of them when it comes to rock. So, because if you hook a fish and he slides you across the rock with braid or mono, you're breaking off. That's all there is to it. Where the fluorocarbon's a little bit more nick resistant, and it's gonna definitely help you get more fish in the boat. Next, we're gonna go the branded jigs that I use. I don't buy jigs that are already assembled, for the simple fact it saves me money. And I found a company that has high quality jigs. It's called Boss Outdoors. If you've never seen them, definitely check them out. They're available at Tackle Warehouse. But they sell packs of jig heads, and then they sell skirts separately. And the benefit to you is you just are able to build jigs cheaper. You're able to get 4 or 5 jig. I think it's 4 jig heads for $5, and then 5 skirts for $4. I think it is. So you're building a jig at $2 a piece, and it's a high quality jig. They have mustad hooks, so you know you have good hooks, a good jig, and you're able to build a jig arsenal. If you're trying to beef up your jig arsenal, and you like fishing jigs, you fish a lot of jigs, this is a good way to do it and not break the bank, because you're going to be able to build a nice jig arsenal at a fraction of the price that you would if you were buying fully assembled jigs. They're very easy to assemble. You can do it in a couple minutes. You can adjust skirt lengths as you want, but they're definitely a good company. Check them out. They're actually used by a couple pros. Gary Klein and Brent Ayler both use Boss Outdoor jig heads, so definitely check those out. Color-wise, I keep my colors simple with both my trailers and my jig heads, and I tried really to do that with all my baits, because I feel if I get too crazy with colors, I have way too many options, and it just confuses you on the water, and it makes your decision-making process that much harder. So I stick to 4 basic colors. I stick to black and blue, which is your normal black and blue jig. Peas and carrots, which is a brown with orange, and a candy crawl, which is like a green pumpkin with green and purple flake, and peanut butter and jelly, which is your brown with purple. Those colors have worked well for me. I haven't felt that I missed fish because of my lack of colors. I just like, this is my system, this is how it works for me. Size wise, I would like 4 different sizes. I only have 3 now. I kind of forgot to order the other size. But I use 3/8, half ounce, 3/4 ounce, and I would like to add 1 ounce. You're not going to see me throwing a light football head jig because, like I said earlier, you need to keep bottom contact. That's where this bait shines. You're imitating a crawfish, and you need to stay on the bottom. The shallowest I'm going to throw a football head jig is probably 8 to 12 feet of water, and that's maybe if there's no current, 8 to 10 feet of water, I'll probably throw the 3/8. But I'll fish this bait down to 45, 50 feet of water, and the deeper I go, the bigger the bait I'm going to need, because I need that bait to get down quick and stay on the bottom. I don't care about fall rate. I want that bait to the bottom as fast as possible and to stay there. So if there's current, I'm going to have to throw a little bit heavier jig. If it's deep, I'm going to have to throw a little bit heavier jig. Trailers. Your typical crawl style trailers. I have 3 different trailers I use on football head jigs. The first one, if I want to keep a small profile or if I'm fishing for smallmouth, I use the Zoom Super Chunk Juniors. It's just a regular chunk trailer, but it's a little bit smaller profile, so I can keep that jig really compact. Second would be the Net Bait Pack of Chunks. These are a pretty cool bait. It allows you to give them a little bit bigger, beefier profile, but still keep it a pretty small setup. And that's just a regular. It's just got the claws. The claws are a little bit bigger than the Zoom Super Chunk Junior. But I do like those as well. And then the last one I use, if I was fishing summer, deep water, and I'm searching for a big bite, I'm gonna put on a Zoom Super Speed Crawl, and I'm gonna leave it full. I'm not biting any of it off. This will be on a 3/4 or a 1 ounce football head jig, and I'll throw a full crawl bait on there, and it's just gonna give you a really big profile for when you're targeting those bigger bites. And smaller fish will hit it. I've caught, a 1.5 pound fish on a 3/4 ounce football head jig with a full Super Speed Crawl on it. So you're still gonna get the small ones, but it helps you when you're really targeting those bigger fish. Now, technique, pretty easy. That's why I even like letting my my 7-year-old fish this bait, because you basically cast it out there far, really far, and you let it get to the bottom. You tighten your line, and you're gonna drag it. You can vary your drag. You can drag it. I try to keep it between 2 to 4 inch drags. Is kind of what I try. That's my normal presentation. I'll drag it a couple inches, reel my slack, let it sit, and the colder the water, the longer I'll let it sit. And a lot of times when I'm letting it sit, I like to just shake it. I just kind of like you would a drop shot. I just like to shake that rod tip and just give a little bit movement, a little bit of flare in that skirt, and then I'll drag it again. A lot of times I'll be dragging the jig, and I'll feel it bump up against something. When that happens, I'll let it sit. I'll shake the rod tip, and then I'll pop it like you would a regular jig. I'd pop it over that piece of cover on the bottom, and then let it sit again. Reel up my slack and let it sit. And a lot of times, you can get a fish following that bait. You get it into that piece of cover, and you pop it over. That bass will hit that on the way down. So it's very important to get the slack out of your line. Watch your line for ticks, and be ready to set that hook. But that's your more common technique, is just dragging it when you get around a piece of cover, give it a pop, shake it, and then go back to dragging it. Now another way they call it, you can also stroke a football head jig, and what that is, it's kind of like just jig fishing. You cast it out real far. I'll drag it once or twice, and then I'll pop it, kind of like you would a spoon or something like that. I'm just gonna pop it like, you're trying to make that jig shoot off the bottom like a crawfish would that's trying to get away. Then you let it sink again, reel up your slack, pop it again. And it's almost like yo-yoing a lipless crankbait kind of, where you're just popping it off the bottom, letting it sink, popping it off the bottom, letting it sink. Those are really the only two ways I fish it. Those are the only two ways I've had to fish it. There might be other techniques, I just don't know, but those work pretty well for me. I'll start by just dragging, and if that's not working, maybe I'm marking fish on the bottom, then maybe I'll start stroking the jig and trying to get almost like a reaction strike from those fish. But so I mean, it's a really easy way to fish. It's great for kids because the kid can cast that bait out there and just start dragging it slowly back to the boat. But that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section below. I'll try to get an on the water video of the football head jig this spring. Hopefully we can get one of those videos to come together, and I'll kind of get a little bit more into the type of areas I'm going to be looking to fish this bait out on the water. But as always, thank you guys for subscribing. Thanks for checking out the channel. Also, give us a like and a follow on Instagram and my Facebook page. And we'll see you again soon, guys. Take care.